When I wake up early in the morning, I really don't want to touch my phone because
As I understand it, you also have two films on your name, right? One with Jason Foundation.
for me, it's like a diary for me. It's not like I want to be a content creator and then I pursued it. It's like
You mentioned that, yes, people can be judgmental and sometimes to the extent that it really hurts us, right?
one thing I'm on content creation is I think is because of my
Unsilenced. Voices of Young Tibetans is a podcast presented by the Foundation for Nonviolent Alternatives, where young Tibetans share their personal stories, experiences, opinions, and journey in exile. Tashi Dele and hello everybody. At a time when almost everybody is on social media, it might arguably be fair to say that we have been exposed to or been influenced by social media to a level and extent that perhaps not many of us understand or think about. Having said that, some people use more social media to their advantage than others. Take for instance content creation. So my guest here today is a young Tibetan content creator, Tenzin Chungdak. So Chungdak, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me and Tashi Delek everyone.
I think we can start off a conversation with the question like who you are, because for many of us who know you, it's probably because of social media. But then we have this understanding that in social media means we only get to see, shall we say, a filtered or selective version of the person, right? And never about the full picture. So today, can you share us a bit about the person behind the screen? Your childhood, your education, and what do you do now?
I'm Tenzin Chungdak. Let me introduce myself once again. I'm Tenzin Chungdak, and as of my childhood, I've been a TCV student my whole life, I guess. I've joined upper TCV in 2007, and from there, till my 12th, I've been in TCV only, till 10 upper TCV, and after that, TCV Biology, I took commerce stream, and then after that, I've been a student in his Dalai Lama Institution for Higher Education, and yeah, so basically my whole life I've been spending in a very typical Tibetan community, and after that, I took gap because I was figuring out life, and right now also I'm figuring out life. And then I decided to come in Delhi, and I did some jobs. Right now, I've recently left my job, but side by side, I've pursued content creation. It's not like I want to be a content creator and then I pursued it. It's by default, I became one. So yeah, that's how it is. And then as of my on screen on social media, I try to be as realistic as I can be, because for me, content creation is more of for me, it's like a diary for me. Because when I grow old, I want to look at my contents and then I want to see, oh, I used to be like this when I was young, right? So that's my main motive. But somehow some of my contents got viral, and that's how people get to know me. That's how I came into content creation. Yeah, so that's even in my contents, I try to keep it as real as it is. But obviously, I try to showcase only my happy side, my joyful side. I don't want to show my vulnerable side much on social platforms, because I feel nobody really cares about your problems, right?
Right, sure.
Everybody has their own share of problem. That's why I don't want to show that side much of.
Indeed, when I was told that I would be podcasting with you, I had to do some background research, So while doing that, one of the things that came up on my YouTube feed was your conversation with Stories of Tibet.
Yeah.
While I'm watching that, I think one of the things that I find quite important in the sense that, the way you made a case for your passion towards acting. You mentioned that, yes, people can be judgmental and sometimes to the extent that it really hurts us, right? But so far as acting is concerned, you said that, you just felt like doing it, doing it again and again. Never felt bothered by what others had to say, right? So I think that kind of mindset was something that many of us struggle to have, right? So can you tell us a bit about your passion towards acting?
When I was very young, I used to be amazed to look at the screen and see the same person being so many different characters. They right now they're just rich, and then in certain movies they can become so poor, and then how they act so nicely, and how people give reaction when they are watching them. And I used to love the reaction. I used to love my own reaction seeing them on the screen. And somehow I am also a very expressive person. So when I do acting and all, I feel very free. I don't know, like I feel like, oh, like I love doing this. And yeah, even me, I do get scared of judgments and all. Like whenever I'm creating content, I think a lot before uploading it. Like, should I put it? What if people don't like me? What if people judge me on basis of this? Am I looking good enough for content? Because like there's a concept like if you're into content creation, you should be certain kind of pretty, right? So I don't consider myself a pretty person, to be honest. Like that's coming all out of my this one, self-conscious and all. But yeah, but when it comes to acting, I don't know, somehow I forget about all these things. It's just like I love to do it, and when I'm doing it, I really don't care about what people are saying. And it's kind of more of like, I think, passion. When you're passionate about something, you really don't care about what people say, right? So that's why acting, I don't have certain advice like you should do this in order to like feel this. It's just that my feeling, I don't know. Whenever I do acts, I'm in front of camera and then I'm acting something like some kind of strange dopamine hits me. That's it. Yeah, I hope you get it.
I think as people say, either you like the job you do or do what you like, right? I think having both, I think, is a luxury in itself that not many people have, right?
Yeah.
So I think, as I understand it, you also have 2 films on your name, right? One with Jason Foundation, The Common People, right? And other Wrong or something.
Yeah, Wrong.
I don't remember the name. So can you just tell a bit about those experiences as well?
I remember when we were in college, it was like Corona time, Corona days, right? Everybody was not doing anything. We were all just chilling in our rooms. Like we all were in hostels, right? So we were just chilling in our room, and our senior Chokarma Sharaf, he was into like photography, videography and all, and then I was into acting, right? So Chokarma Sharaf came to me and he was like, let's make something, let's do something we both like. And then not only us, but there were also like many other people. And then that's where somehow we came to make the movie Wrong. And it was such a fun memory for me during my college days. So yeah, that's it.
About Common People?
Common People, I think Hamu reached out to me saying, are you free? We are gonna make normal people. And then even though I was having job at that time, like I said, right, I don't know, like I obviously make free time for acting and all. So I like definitely I have free time for that. And then I got into like I got in contact with them, and then we made the movie, and it was also a very fun moment for me.
Sure, thank you. I think now that you have become a content creator, right? I mean, the way we see it, I think your passion for acting is complementing with the work that you're doing now, content creation, right? But then, and we have seen you promoting Tibetan cafes and restaurants in Majnukatila, but we don't really know what goes into content creation, the challenges and the opportunities, right? So can you tell us a bit about that?
Challenges is like, first of all, like before making the content for for any restaurant or any cafe, like I put a lot of thought into it, because like when I'm like advertising their cafe or restaurant, I want to make the best out of it, like when they see my content, I want them to make like, oh, thank God we call her, I don't want to we call her, but her content is like not really good. I don't want to make that. So before making the content only, I put a lot of thought in it. And after that, I don't have like a friend who's always there to help me, right? Sometimes I have to be my own cameraman, I have to write my own script, and I have to do my own editing, which even I'm new, I'm learning all this. So yeah, it can be like hard at times, but it's still fun because learning new experiences is fun, right?
Yeah, indeed. I think no job is easy job,
Yeah.
But then I think, and even generally as a social person, as a social animal, we crave for some kind of social acceptance, right? Then particularly here as a content creator, the engagement is the key, right? So in that sense, you appreciate the public response, right? But which itself is okay. But sometimes, this leads us to social comparison and some sort of, social validation, right? Which can be problematic, particularly for someone growing up. Identities are still forming, right? So how do you navigate that while continue to create and manage content?
Yeah, even sometimes when I wake up early in the morning, I really don't want to touch my phone, because like when we are dirty, like when we are into a dirty place. We feel dirty, right? Same when I too much onto my phone, like looking reels, like looking contents and all. Like I don't know, my brain feels very dirty. Like it feels so messed up. Like it's like I don't know, a lot of like negative thoughts only come in my mind, and that's why somehow I try to like keep my phone when I'm waking up in the morning. I try not to touch my phone at all, and sometimes when I'm having like, I swear to God, a lot of self-doubt creates when I look too much into my phone. And I try to like the best people. I try to talk with the best people, like my sisters. They can motivate me so much. Like one thing I'm on content creation is, I think, is because of my sisters. Like sometimes I just say that I think I'll delete my Instagram. You know, it's like literally, dashing up with my mind. So like when it does, like it feels so like. A lot of self-doubt rises up. Like, am I not enough? Something like, I can't even tell the whole thing right now. So yeah, but my sister motivates me, like, you know, you're doing great. You're doing like this. You see how people are commenting on you, something. And they motivate me to such an extent that I feel like, oh, maybe, yeah, I think I should continue this.
Sure. Then based on your experience, you know, any suggestions to other young Tibetan content creators or those who want to become, you know, content creators?
Suggestion, I would say, like from my experience, what I want to say is keep posting, you know, keep showing your unique side, and you may never know which reel might go viral and which might not, right? But if you don't keep posting, how will you know which might go viral and which might not, right? And like it's, even though we don't accept it, it's a fact. Like when we create content, when we want to become a content creation, views and like followers, like it matters. Even though we say it doesn't matter, but it do, right, somehow. So yeah, in order to do that, you need to know what is working for you and what is not. So in order to know that also, you can't directly know. Sometimes you might know, but sometimes you might know what is working for you and what is not, right? So in order to know that, just keep posting, you know. And if something works for you, that's what I know.
Sure. I think now we have a couple of questions on Tibet, you know, since this podcast is about Tibetan youth, right? Now, with Chinese occupation of Tibet, you know, now Tibetans inside Tibet and those of us in exile diaspora, we are physically apart, right? But then, yes, some of us are born inside Tibet, so we have some memory of the land, right? But then for many of us, including yourself, born here in India or other diaspora communities, right? We have never been to there. So our understanding of Tibet is basically a product of the stories that we have heard from our parents and grandparents and the news that we get from Tibet, right? So it's never about our own lived experience. It's rather the lived experience of someone else, right? So when we speak about Tibet, you know, what comes to your mind?
When I think of Tibet, though I've never been there, when I was in TCV, I was very young, and I remember children's coming from Tibet because, like, at that time, students and all, they used to come from Tibet. And then there, when I take myself back to these days, and then when I think of it, I feel like when I think of Tibet, it's like people who are very pure, and then people who are very strong, you know. Like when I hear their stories, they came like crossing the mountains, and I feel like, oh my God, I can never do this, and they did it. And I find them very strong, very like fearless, but very kind and very pure. In my mind, when I think about Tibet, especially the people, I feel, and they're very innocent, that I don't find these people these days this kind.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I asked this question, you know, because fundamentally and rightfully so, at the heart of a Tibetan struggle lies the welfare of the 7, or some say 7.5 or 8 million Tibetans inside Tibet, right? So I think now this brings us to our last question. We've been asking this question to every our guest, you know, so I'll just read it out. Any message to our fellow Tibetans worldwide and the plethora of Tibet supporters who continue to stand in solidarity with us Tibetans?
Message, I would like to say, let's not give up, you know. Let's all try our best. Let us all try to do something like for ourselves first. Let's build ourselves strong and then do something for Tibet.
Thank you, Chungdala.
Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure to meet you, and good to have you on the podcast. We wish you all the best. And then to our audiences, thank you Kadinche Tashtele.
Thank you so much.
Videos and updates by FNVA. Subscribe to our channel and thank you for watching.